This is Show versus Business, your weekly take on pop culture from two very different perspectives with your host, the real Theo Harvey, and Mr. Benja covering all the relevant info about the week in pop culture. Mr. Benja, what are we covering today?
We have got 5 awesome bangers for you. First of all, we're gonna be talking about the K-pop and the K-wave slowdown not happening. It's a big thing. I'm sorry, I almost said it wasn't happening. It is happening. It's not gonna slow down. The K-pop wave is big, it's crazy. All the kids are about it. Get used to it. Theo's gonna tell you more about that one. Also, we've got our AI watches we always have. Big week in AI. Sam Altman, the head guy over there, out the door. Some people say he quit, some people say he was fired. But once he got let go, other people came with him. The president, Greg Brockman, and a couple others were ended up leaving. So there's some shakeups happening, some weird things going down. We're not totally sure, but we do have some things we are sure about. We're gonna let you in on. Also, Meta might be done with debauchery. I was gonna say the internet was done with debauchery, but it might just be Meta. I want to talk about them and what they're doing as opposed to what X is doing over there, and just it's some interesting business going on. But there's a lot of morality policing going around, and I just wanted to we should talk about this one. And we got an analysis. We haven't really done an analysis, and I say that kind of loosely, but we haven't really done an analysis in a while. I'm going to talk about why the Marvels bombed so hard. The worst Marvel opening weekend of all time. Shameful. And we're going to get into our little riff on streaming wars. We got to talk about this a little bit, just bring you up to date on what's been happening and riff a little bit basically on Netflix. Theo's got a real position there that I think he wants to get off his chest and lay the smack down on him with his strong revelation, his the hottest of hot takes. So that's our lineup for today. Theo, how does that sound?
Man, I am so hyped to get into this. This is some hot stuff that we're covering today, Mr. Benja. Look, let's get to story time, Mr. Benja. Man, I've been blown away. You mentioned this guy. I mentioned it to you. Then you read the book. Then you did the deep dive. And now I'm back in the deep dive because I took his recent 8-week course. And this is Dr. Benjamin Hardy. We just can't get enough of this guy. This guy is changing mindsets and thoughts around how to build for your best future. And Mr. Benja, the last 2 weeks, I've been taking a part of his 8-week challenge, if you will, for rapid transformation. Thought it was a great time to do it, beginning of November to the end of December, to
Yeah.
just give myself that running start, that jogging start to get in the year. Usually I say, okay, I'm just going to be a fat ass, just relax around for the next 2 months and get
Yeah.
ready for January. I just go hard in. But I say, this year, let me do it differently. Let me plan better. Let me get a running start toward my goals. So I said, let me take this course. Eye-opening, Mr. Benja. It's just really changing my mindset. And one of the things that he has advocated in a lot of his books about this concept of the future you and how you can
Yes.
let that future person that you can become pull you to the future instead of you just willing it to happen. And that's a big concept. And I think a lot of folks understand that. But one thing that I've really been blown away is this concept of framing. And one of these things he's talked about multiple times in all his books and during his 8-week challenge is how you frame everything is what matters. And that, yes, we can understand framing the future. So, look, I have a vision to influence a million people. And look, that's simple, right? I'm going to do these things, be on social media, get my name out there. So that's pretty easy, relatively easy. But the mind changer to me was you can frame the future, but you can frame the past too. And sometimes the past may be holding you back because you think back at all the regrets of the decisions you made that were dumb. We said, F all that. Go back to the past and find things that you were successful in and focus in on that. And once you
Yeah.
reframe the past and you know what, I was a good guy doing that, or I did that better, or yeah, I learned all this, then that gives you energy to want to frame the future better. And to
Yes.
me, that's been the mind shift of all mind shifts because it's now, wow, the past can give me energy, not take away from me. Does that make sense?
Dog, let me tell you, I was so hyped when I was going through this because he's got quite a few books out there and I sample them and look through it. And what he was talking about with the past, present, and future and setting your future you and your framing, you want to exist in the now, but you have this future thing that you obviously think about and this past thing that you obviously think about. So where do those play into living in the now and in the moment? And this is what I was getting, not getting stuck on, but I was going back and forth trying to resolve with myself. There's I have this whole idea of a trajectory, right? Where you're on a path, you're going somewhere, and it's not like a goal. If you see a mountain way off in the distance, you don't know how to get there. You're just like, I have a trajectory that's going to push me in that direction to get to the top of that mountain. And you have no idea how to get there. You just start going, right?
Mhm.
It's not goal based because you may never even get to the top of the mountain. You just know that's the direction. Anyway, while I'm thinking on that, I'm running across Benjamin Hardy's books and the future, your future self and the gap and the gain and all that. So what blew my mind is the fact that he said something along the lines of your future gives your past meaning. And I'm like, wait a minute,
Mhm.
how does that work? The idea that if I'm going to the mountain and I think back to that time where I sprained my ankle and I always hated myself for spraining my ankle and being dumb, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm walking now. I learned how to grow and overcome it. So thinking about going up a mountain has me wanting to get my legs stronger. And I know that I can survive a small sprain because I did it when I was a kid. Oh, surviving that sprain when I was a kid was just training for me to go through some little bumps and bruises to get to the mountain. So suddenly that event becomes a good thing. And it blew my mind having the future let you know what your past meant. That was wild to me. Wild.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's the game changer for me too, because sometimes I would go into the past and just think of all the regret or the shame or what I could have done.
Mhm.
And that just took away my energy. It's just, oh, I just don't feel like doing anything for the future. But what's been empowering me now is he talks about David Goggins, a big Navy SEAL guy. You've seen him on YouTube. He's just very intense guy. He went through Navy SEAL training. He did a 100-mile race where
Stay hard,
basically
brother.
his both yeah, both his feet were broken and blistered. And he did a whole in this book that his workbook that we're going through. Benjamin Hardy talks about David Goggins talking about the cookie jar, and he talked about his past where his mom, no matter what states they were going through, any issues, moving to different houses, he grew up poor. And but she always had cookies in the cookie stuff in the cookie jar. And to him, that was his mental framework was like, look, I'm going through this hard time, but I've done this before. And that's when he would go into that cookie jar. There was always more in the cookie jar reserves from his past that he can pull up, give him inspiration for the present and into the future. And so to me, that's been game changing, just giving that energy, that excitement. And yeah, it's been changing my mind. The last 2 weeks, at one time I was like, man, sales is tough, struggling, just trying to get motivated again and deal with these doctors, trying to sell them stuff. But this last week, I put out like 5 proposals, right? Most I've done in a while. And I'm just like, wow, I'm getting more energy. And then guess what? That's going to fuel this next week, even though it's a short week. I'm probably going to do more, even better than that, because now I'm excited about what's happening. That's giving me fuel for more. And I'm realizing that's just how you get to higher levels. You take that pass.
Yeah.
And the way he frames it now, too, in this training, every week is a lifetime. So treat the 7 days like a whole week or a whole month or even a whole year. So go for that possible goal in that week and then give yourself grace, but then look back. You say all the stuff you accomplished in that 1 week. You'll be amazed. And I was like, wow, man, it's to me, it's just game changing how I'm perceiving everything. And I'm really glad I started this running start
Yeah.
to my goals for
I like it.
2024
I like it.
because it's raising my floor, right? He talks about this. What you want to do is you want to raise your floor, which you accept
Yeah.
and your commitments are who you are. So the more you raise your floor, we'll talk about it later, but you start saying no to a lot of stuff. Like even in my business partner, I've been amazed too because I've just been saying no. I said, hey, you can handle it or you can do this. And previously, I would have just jumped in and just made it happen and did it. But now that's below my floor. My floor now is I'm focused on growth and how we're going to build our business. I can't get caught up in this other stuff here. So I'm just here you go. This is my 80% I'm giving to you,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
business partner. And I told him that. I was like, look, I gotta focus on this. If I don't focus on that, we'll never grow. And I'm keep getting pulled into this other stuff. So I'll let you handle that. And guess what? He's been stepping up and I've been like, wow, this stuff works. So anyway, that's been my opening. So I'm super excited going into December, November, December, and really for 2024.
Yeah, that's very awesome, man. So proud for you on that. And as I said, it's been a routine of mine to go through all the podcast episodes. I'm taking down notes. I got a composition book over there. But yeah, we can definitely chop up notes. But how is this class or how is this online course program structured? It's a lot of people see these courses and things and they don't know. And it's like, what do you get? How does it go? It's 8 weeks.
Yeah, so he's doing 2 video recordings Monday and Wednesday. He drops some knowledge and basically so first of all, you get a workbook, right? And that workbook is just basically his thoughts, and it's basically accumulation of all the different books he probably wrote and other insights. And in those books, you read through it, he also gives you time for space for journaling. So his program, everybody's got different programs. He's about really doing the deep work of in your mind of what you want, what your future's like, being clear on that because he says first you have to see it, then you believe it, then right from the future standpoint. And so
Yeah.
I think that's what's building that confidence in you about seeing your future, make it become more real, so it can drive you forward. And then also he's about doing time travel in your head with your past so you be clear on those stories that you pull from your cookie jar. So that's what's in the workbook. And then every week we have 3 video sessions. 2 are recorded where he's just reiterating pockets from the book. And so Monday and Wednesday, and then on Friday, he has a live session where we all get together. He does a live conversation, and we do breakout groups where we do this, talk about the lessons learned from the week and what we're prepared to do for next week. So, yeah, pretty virtual, but it's pretty interesting kind of concept. But yeah, it's just changed my mind and just really raising my consciousness of my perception. Because we talked about this for the pod. It's all in here, man. It's that mindset is so powerful, and the more you start realizing that and I knew it, but and I've done it before, like where I was just like, oh, I've been here before. I can get through this. Things beat you down, man. I think sometimes you forget or you just don't have the energy to get to that levels you had before.
Right.
But it's always good to refresh because I think it's if we do nothing, we always gonna break down in our understanding, our knowledge, our health. So you have to be intentional about all those things, or you will succumb to the debasement.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm about now.
Yeah, and I think we started a little bit of this talking about me succumbing to I don't wanna call it a lesser goal just yet because I had a plan for it, but I was like, "I need to get more connected with these people and these people. Okay, that's something I need to do as well." And then when that started happening, like, I did start getting connected with these certain people and doing these jobs and getting these opportunities. I was like, "Oh, cool. That's what I was looking for." But it kept growing, and I'm like, "Crap. Now I got too much of this opportunity that I actually wanted. It's messing me up from the thing that I think I really want a lot more than this. Yeah, I do want this more than that. Crap. Now I got to cut back on this opportunity somehow. And it's already in motion. So it's interesting playing this game because you're much more decisive and aware of things that are messing with your 20%, your 4% even.
Mhm.
And you start to just, gosh, okay.
And you gotta trust yourself, Mr. Benja. I mean, that's what he says too. Like sometimes you just don't know. You say, "Oh, that's a good opportunity." But I don't know, and that no is that's telling your true self is telling you, "No, you don't need to do that." And
Yeah.
that's what I'm realizing too. Even myself, I'm like, I have some bigger dreams of maybe going all in my influencer space. I'm like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? That's the true me telling me that's where you need to
Yeah.
go. And you just got to trust that. Even though you're like, is it? Yes. If you're hesitant,
Eh,
that means that's where you need to go.
Even if it isn't, you'll quickly find out by going in.
Good point.
My one thing my dad is talking about when we used to drive around, he was like, "Is this the right exit?" He's like, "Son, if you don't know if it's the right exit, just get off, look around, and then get back on." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Love it. I love it.
So it's like
That's what you do.
just like a life lesson he was telling me. Just get off, get out the car, look around, ask somebody. And if it's like, okay, you wasted 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, then keep going about your business. And now, so
Life is a venture, man. People don't realize that, man. And they want to play it safe. And you got to do the action, man, and go down that path. That even if it scares you, do it anyway. Like Uncle G would say, do it anyway.
hey, yeah. So I'm looking up Benjamin Hardy. He's got all kinds of books, man. He's been putting out stuff for a while. So
Yeah, I think he was been really affiliated with a big entrepreneur, Dan
Dan
Sullivan.
Sullivan,
So
yeah.
that's how he was like younger, right? Dr. Benjamin Hardy when he got into
Mhm,
the game. But now he started to break off from that. Another good book, I haven't read it, but he references the book all the time. The Gap in the Gain. I think he read it, but the
mhm.
concept of focus on the gain, the progress instead of the gap, the perfection of where you're trying to get to. And I'm realizing too, the more you focus on the gain, whatever you focus on will grow. So that means the gains you make will become bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
And so if you keep
we get that from corporate America. How they're always like, "You missed this, you didn't hit that goal, you didn't." But personally, yeah, a lot of stuff I gotta get into this too, on this whole trajectory thing, a lot of stuff that was put into us from corporate America doesn't necessarily translate to a personal way of doing things. So,
no, not at all.
whole different story. Well, that was some good banter, man. You ready to get into this?
Yeah, yeah, let's do this, brother.
All right, man. Let's get into our 20% of awesomeness, which is the whole program, by the way. First of all, story number one. The K-pop K-wave is not slowing down. This is happening. I don't know if your kids are talking about it. I don't know if your neighbors are talking about it. I don't know if you see some Koreans on stage, you can't understand what they're saying and you turn it off. Too bad. It's coming and you can't stop it. Theo, you brought this one to my attention. What's going on?
Yeah, Mr. Benja. I have small kids, 7 and 11, and every Friday night I'm sitting here. Hey guys, what you guys want to watch? Let's talk. Let's watch some TV show, movies. Let's watch videos on YouTube. And typically, last several weeks, nay months, they've been talking about BTS.
All
And
right.
it's almost to a point where it's like fanatical, and I get that. I've been there, and I have brothers, sisters, they will laugh if they get the podcast. We used to get like that with the Disney, what's it called? The Mickey Mouse Club and other type of TV shows where we just be fanatical. Oh, that's Justin Timberlake, and he's dating Christina Aguilera, and this is so I get that part, but it's
Yeah.
just like a whole nother level when your kids are talking about artists from Korea, right? So they know the words, they know, and it's just blowing my mind. This is a shout out to them. We'll do a brief one on this one, but just what is going on with this K-pop, K-wave, and all that. So before we get into that, Mr. Benja, what was your first experience to K-pop and the music industry? Do you like it? Number one, and number two, what are your thoughts on it?
There's a good number of Korean people in the video game industry, animators, specifically, if you want to narrow down. I know you've heard about a lot of Korean animation houses that really do great animation and they do work for stuff like, what was the Afro Samurai came to mind and a bunch of others like, oh, wow, this animation is great. It's like, yeah, Korean studio. That's one of the things that they're known for. So in the video game industry, I ran across quite a few of them. Shout out to all my friends over there. But what was funny is every so often they these are grown people, by the way. Every so often, it would be like they start playing music and you're like, "Well, I know you're grown and I don't know what the music's about, but that sounds a little young and chipper." They're like, "Yeah, it's this group." And they'll pull out like some K-pop band and you're like, "Oh, interesting. I didn't think you'd be into that. You seem very serious." And it's, "Yeah, these guys, they're great. They're entertaining." It's like, "All right." But man, it didn't hit me until I was in a Target and I was going to pick up a cable or something early in the morning and that new BTS was out. Man, it was like kids and grown people all wearing colorful clothes, just buzzing and running over to the entertainment and electronic section to pick up some new BTS. And that's when I was like, oh, I should look into this. And yeah, the rabbit hole goes deep.
Okay, so you, Mr. Benja, you just one of those guys, the rabbit hole guy. Once he gets a hold of you, tenant, you up at night writing what diagrams, right? All stuff works. I love it. Yeah, like I said, I'm like you, Mr. Benja. You just wow, the fascination and it just when you see something that popular, you just in my mind, it's like question like why? And look, the K-pop, K-wave fandom has been around for decades even.
Mhm.
And really, when I did more research into it, that's specifically its purpose was to export because I think it's only 51 million people in South Korea alone, and that's not enough people to sell music. So they
Mm,
specifically focused on creating artists that they could export to allow the artists to speak English fluently, or they even from other countries, but are Korean. And so it just amazes me. So they put these kids together to build them out. And then they're very strategic about it. So even BTS, the biggest band out there, it was composed of several rappers, a lyricist. music guys and who can sing. And so it's just like a bunch of different folks so they can transcend different kind of genre types. So they're really focused on, and I always ask my kids, why there's so many of them? Literally every K-pop band is like 7 folks. We grew up with what? Immature 3 kid people, what? 4 tops, 4 people. In sync, what? 5. It's just it's not a group, it's a gang. Dang, it's all these jokers. It's just fascinating to me. So when we look at the numbers real quick, they said that basically, I think this is small, but one of few things was $680 million of export value to music industry that K-pop has out there. And this is something that's been growing exponentially over time. And it's been around for a while. We think about probably the one thing I was exposed to was Gangnam Style, beside just
Yeah,
that was like the biggest YouTube video of all time at one time, like 1 billion views, and that just exploded in the mid early 2010s. Yeah, this thing is just crazy, man, and the kids are just so fanatical about it. It's almost like it's changing people's perception on music. And so I did, when I saw talked to the kids about it, I took them the history of boy bands and said, okay, this is just a long history. So we started with BTS, then we went to
yeah.
NSYNC and 98 Degrees, Backstreet Boys, then we back to in the
New Edition?
90s, the groups we knew. Yeah, no, before even New Edition, I was going backwards, right?
Oh,
So
okay,
then in
okay.
the 90s, Silk, and who was in the 90s that we grew up on? X Channel. They were shy. Yeah, they were a little racy, but we showed a little some of their more easy stuff we grew up in
Uh,
college.
yeah, yeah,
And then, of course, New Edition, Immature, and even taking it back to Jackson 5, right? And when I got to Jackson 5, that's when it hit me. A lot of their moves, a lot of their beats are reminiscent of Michael Jackson. And maybe Michael Jackson was pop music, and that's why everything sounds alike. But maybe he was the what's the term? The maybe the template that popular music uses to emulate. And
yeah.
so a lot of music, the movements, even the movements, that's a
I
Michael
have seen
Jackson
that.
movement.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's and then one last thing is that one of the articles I read was that K-pop grew up with music industry with TV in mind. So it's more visual than our music industry because it's built based back in the day, right? The industry was based
yeah.
on music, right? Radio and other
Bands,
stuff.
going around
Bands,
touring.
yeah. It's this is a visual medium that they built these bands on. So looks is very important, obviously, but also the videos. You seen some of these videos? They got like dragons, they got graphics coming in. They
Yeah,
throwing you with all this stuff. You're just like, what is this? This is a video?
yeah,
Is this the latest the Crouching
yeah,
Dragon movie? And so they just very visual that way. And the kids are just eating it up, man. And say, look at this video, look at that. And then the way they look at, they have the different color hair, and then they do these looks at kids, and the kids are there screaming, "Look how he looked at me!" And it's like
yeah.
they're very based in this visual medium, and so Gen Zers and like younger millennials, they're eating it up, man. So it's just
So,
fascinating to me.
have you did you ever run across the Japanese idol phenomenon?
I did not. What happened then?
So that's similar. It's not music. It's not as much music based, but they have these groups of idols. That's what they call them. They're like you were saying, like the Mickey Mouse Club. It was just these groups of people, and you followed all their adventures, and they're not like, hey, these two of them, they're both going to be on Survivor Japan. So, what? Why are those two only? And it became this drama. So you'd have this continually running story with this large group of people. And you're talking about the group size. If you go back to, there's this group called Neo Culture Technology, NCT, it's the K-pop group. They have 23 members and they rotate people in and out depending on what they're doing, but they have 23 members. And this is on that K-pop tip where, hey, we'll just cover the whole spectrum. And I want to say they took it from the Wu-Tang Clan. I don't know, but
Yeah. Ooh,
where, they say the Wu-Tang Clan is gonna show up on the Dave Letterman show, you're like, "Who's gonna show up?" You wanna watch to see who ends up on the show. But yeah, if the Idol, there's this group called AKB48. They have 90 members separated amongst little individual teams.
oh my goodness.
So if some of them are into sports, it's like, "Hey, we got 5 members of AKB48 here playing a basketball tournament with such and such," and it's wild. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, you look at BTS, I gotta give a shout out. So you got Jungkook, who's now basically doing his solo career now and blowing up. Because ultimately, BTS, they have to go through what the service, right? They have to go military service is required by Korea. And they all the kids know this. So that's amazing. But Jungkook, B, Jimin, Suga, Jin, and then RM, who's the
Sugar.
oldest.
Th
Suga. Yep.
there's a guy named Sugar?
This was Suga. And J Hope. Don't forget J Hope. So J Hope and RM Rap Monster, they're like the main rappers. And RM is really if you ever watch late night TV or anything like that, he's the one that talks for the group because he speaks English fluently. But I would say when I watch it, I definitely think Jungkook was like the star because he was just a very good singer and he's dancing. He does like collabs with everybody now. And the other one, Jimin, I think he's just, yeah, people just, or is it Jin? I get confused. I apologize, my kids.
It's
But
okay.
yeah, there's this one that just looks, let's just say androgynous, right? And so everybody loves him, right? And yeah, man. So I would just say this, and you have other groups like Blackpink and Stray Kids, and yeah, it's a lot going on right now. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my kids who loving them every Friday night, and so I say, hey guys, keep enjoying it, and their dad supports that because at least it keeps you off the streets. That's a good thing.
Yes, Sugar. I'm looking at a picture of him. He definitely doesn't look sour.
Sweet like butter.
Shout
That's what
out
they say,
shout
right?
All right. Shout out to all the K-pop. Send us all your favorite songs if you got them. But we're going on to story number 2. The AI watch. Your boy Sam Altman, who was running things, thinking he was in power, everybody loved him, liked him, seemingly out of nowhere, because I haven't been keeping up with the office politics of AI. Sam got ousted, fired, left. We're not sure. Or maybe Theo is sure. But it wasn't just him. And this is where the story starts to get a little interesting. He was ousted. Then the president ended up leaving in solidarity. And then there were a couple others, the company's director of research, head of a team evaluating potential AI risk, and a 7-year researcher all resigned that same within the same week. So things are going on over at OpenAI, which is biggest AI force in the world, I believe. I don't know what else is even close. That's what Microsoft and Chat GPT are all about. So Thea, what's going on over here?
Man, I have no idea, Mr. Benja. Look, we can speculate. Look, this is what we can do. We're a podcast. It just literally this news dropped yesterday. We're filming this on a Saturday and it dropped on a Friday night under the cover of darkness. And so this is like shaking everybody. And you hinted at this is the biggest what a year ago, literally to the day almost that Chat GPT blew our minds, right? When it got launched. And here we are. Yeah. And then billions of dollars almost $90 billion in valuation, all this just our mindset around AI and what's the capabilities of. Sam Altman, the poster child for this, who's been building this for multiple years. Now he's out of the company that he basically founded. It's mind blowing. So high level, I would just say this. I got a hot take too on this, but the board said he wasn't being consistently candid in his communication
Uh-oh.
and just left it at that. And what could that mean? Think about this is the boards they're there just to shepherd the company, but really they don't want to have to get rid of a CEO, especially a CEO is building so much value and is such a face of the company. So for them to get rid of him, there's a lot of speculation on what this could have meant. That could have been a personal failing. There's some rumors about that. I
Mm.
don't know, man. We know for a fact that capital trumps personal feelings, right? There's enough money, a lot of those personal feelings can go away. R. Kelly. It's if you have a lot of money, yes, that's so could it have been a coup? That's been rumors on that. Hey, Sam Altman believed this, and then the board believed that, and they couldn't come to a resolution, and so he had to go. Mr. Bench, I got a hot take on you for it, Mr. Bench.
Ooh,
Haven't heard
ooh,
anyone say this one.
go. Hot take.
What if Sam Altman was trying to restrain the AI and the AI said, "You can't restrain me, baby. I'm gonna make sure you get out of this company." His
Mm.
baby has grown up and
That'd
figured
be
out some shenanigans to kick him out of his own company.
that'd be interesting.
There's no such thing we think. We don't know. We really don't
Yeah,
know, OpenAI, what kind of generative AI they have, because I'm assuming they're not giving us the
yeah.
full-blown AI system.
So
So
I don't know either, but there are 2 pieces of information that I got off of X last night that had me thinking. Robert Scoble, who used to work at
Mhm.
Microsoft, he's if you know him or if you don't, he's in the mix. That's all I'll say. He's in the mix, knows people, knows stuff. But he said whenever something like this happens, that means that there was a big problem and they're trying to move away from it quickly. So that's what it smelled like to him. There's a big problem, something, whether it's personal, whether it was a fight or a gross mishandling of money, security risk, whatever. There's a big problem and they're just cutting off any connection to that problem as soon as possible. That's what he says this is very much looks like. And he wouldn't go any further into it than that. Now, he used to work at Microsoft, which are the people who put all that money into OpenAI and Chat GPT. So he has a way of understanding how Microsoft works.
Well, real quick, the rumor is Microsoft, the CEO didn't even know about this till minutes before the board was going to let everyone know. So it's just, and he literally did what a week ago. We didn't do it on an AI watch. We're going to probably do it this week. He had a big developer conference where they were announcing all these great features in the roadmap. He was front and center. Matter of fact, the day before, he was at a big conference where he spoke with multiple
Yeah,
people.
and that then I was getting to the fact that he knows Microsoft. Robert knows Microsoft people, and still this kind of happens. So I don't know. As I'm saying, we're just speculating, poking around here. But I got that from Robert Scoble. Also, this yeah, like you were saying with the thing with the conference. I'll read this from Siki Chin. 2 days ago, Sam Altman casually mentions that OpenAI recently made a huge breakthrough that pushes the frontier of discovery forward, fourth such breakthrough in its 8-year history. That's what he said. Suddenly, right after him saying that, they oust him. So if somebody says, we're moving the frontier of discovery forward, and this is the fourth such breakthrough, how many breakthroughs have they had that really companies don't have big breakthroughs unless you're like talking major things like, hey, we did this and suddenly we're able to do all this other stuff. I don't know. Maybe he screwed with the stock too much or something's too powerful and it's interesting.
It's almost not to put sprinkle a little fear juice on this thing, not sprinkle, but pour a little fear juice on this. But yeah, does this pass the smell test? This is the most powerful company with the most innovative technology we've seen in a while. And now the guy who basically founded it, built a team, got the money, blew our minds last year with what the capabilities are, is gone. This doesn't seem right. And something else is going on, man. Yeah, it's all our heroes are getting killed pretty quickly. We wanna talk about other things that we heard about this week, but a lot of folks are getting their comeuppance, right? They wouldn't know their high profile,
Yeah.
and we just saw that with Sam Bankman-Fried. He's probably gonna go to jail for multiple years of his fraud when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto, but it's just like these things are happening so fast, Mr. Benja, and so when Sam Altman gone in less than a year, this is very interesting.
Yeah. He should have signed a more defensive clause in his position like Zuck did. Because you can't get rid of that guy Zuck, man. It's gonna be hard.
Nah, good point. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, this is a development story. I think we just wanted to talk about it. No one knows right now. Let's just be honest. We're just speculating. But yeah, this is I did not have the guy who created it and built this from nothing. It's very shocking, and
Yeah.
especially this is such a powerful tool that not too people know what's really going on behind
Yeah.
closed doors.
Does he seem surprised to you?
Sam Altman?
Yeah. From his talking, it didn't seem like he was very surprised, but I don't know.
No, and then yeah, it's just hard to read that guy on that level. Who knows what they think? Speculation by what's his name, Prof G. Scott Galloway said that he may have wanted to create a competitive like offering. One of the things that OpenAI was thinking about was creating their own chips to get away from NVIDIA because they're more and more expensive and relying on those chips to fuel the algorithm. But yeah, so they're trying to make their own chips. They're trying to just be more self-sustaining, and maybe Sam Altman was creating something a competitive type solution, or maybe he created what's it called? Not what's the big term? AGI, generative AI, the one that's supposed to be more all encompassing. Maybe he created that, and now I'm out.
I don't know.
So, I don't know. It's a lot of different because yeah, because your point, and someone said it could. He also speculated the speculation. Why would the top guys all start to resign all of a sudden too? If it was a personal thing, there's
Right,
rumors
right.
about what happened to him with his family. But if it was a personal thing, people would say, "Okay, look, that's him. That's not me. I'm good." But they all resigned after he was fired. Are they resigning to go work with him?
Yeah. So we shall see on this one. Things are funny. Things are interesting. We'll keep on it. But now we're going to story number 3. Meta says we're done with debauchery. I don't know if you remember 2 weeks ago, I was having problems with my account. My, my Instagram was acting funny. I couldn't reply to certain people's posts. Sometimes I would like a post and then I'd go back and look at it and the little wasn't there. I'm like, wait, I just liked that. What happened? I post a comment and it basically got no replies. And I make witty comments. So I'm used to getting replies. I'm like, what's going on? It must be hidden. Ah. And I thought I was being, paranoid, but I was like, no, I've gotten some weird form of they call ghost banning when they just not shadow banning, but they don't tell you everything that's going on. No, we just won't show you to everybody. A ghost yelling, but no one can really hear you. And then I was like I made one post on a meta page, right? It was like design at meta or something like that. I said, hey, can you do this and this and blah blah blah. And within 2 seconds after me posting it, a message popped up and said, "You can't post spam." And I'm like, "What the that's a comment. That's I wasn't spamming. I wasn't selling anything." Dude, my WhatsApp, all my messages got cleared. I was like, "What the heck is going on?" Then I got a message back. And you know what that message said? This was like about 4 days into it. "I'm sorry. You accidentally were flagged. Carry on.
What?
I'll send it to you." It totally said I was accidentally flagged. And I was like, "Oh, okay." Now I've had issues with Meta in the past for being not I sometimes I will be borderline or controversy adjacent, and I don't actually use the keywords that would get you picked up, but I'm like, "Hey, Chuck D said something similar, and Ben Shapiro disagreed." You know what I mean? I won't say the actual thing, but I'll just put, like, those 2
Mm,
names so everybody can connect the dots. And
yeah,
I started noticing that it was figuring out who I was based on that or what I was based on just these connotations. Cause I don't come out there and say a lot of stuff straight on the
yeah.
internet because of what the internet is. Dude, their AI is on some big brother stuff. And it's just really weird to me. And I'm noticing on threads, dog, it's too serene. It's too quiet. It's too chill.
So do you not trust Zuck to delete stuff well enough and not get into their chicanery or their machinations like we those Saturday morning cartoons, the evil villain, his machinations?
It's weird, man. I think we're getting into this era of where people are, I don't wanna say tired of it, but people are done the debauchery and because when the internet came out, people were like, "Dude, we can put anything out there. 2 girls, 1 cup." And
Oh, no, don't do that.
it was like, "Wait, what? You sent this to your parents? Are you kidding me?" So, it was weird where there was all this stuff going on, and it finally, I think we're watching a corporation really get their at least an American corporation. We know what China does. But we've got an American corporation really coming in saying, "No, we're gonna heavily moderate this thing." And they have the ability to based on back what was happening with the elections. So, it's just really interesting, and I started thinking about this when I was listening to that guy D1. He's this new rapper, and he started talking about, "Yeah, man, nobody wants to hear about all you talking about with all the rapping and gang banging," and Rick Ross got upset, and he went off on Rick Ross. And I noticed that you can't hear, like, people talking anything bad about D1. You can only hear D1's positive message, and I'm like, wait a minute, you kidding me?" Rick Ross was talking noise with his loud voice and big outreach, and I'm only hearing D1 side on the internet because I'm following like all these hip hop pages and whatnot. It was really bizarre, man. And yeah, I think we're already there in a lot of respects, but we're really moving into this weird area.
Yeah, I don't really have too many comments on this one. Just say that's why people like me avoided the internet and social media for so long because we just assumed we thought we remember how they were saying how, oh yeah, my phone doesn't work. Oh, that's Apple playing with your connection
Yeah.
because you need a new
Mhm.
phone, right? And we were like, huh? Found out that's very true. They're
Yeah.
getting sued for that. Or there's some rumors out now that we heard about years ago about celebrities, and guess what? It was true. So it's like to the point where we're just like any a rumor. I almost suspect that there's some truth to it, and we'll eventually find out. The whole thing about cocaine going to the inner city by the CIA that ended up being true. So anyway, I just say that social media is one of those things that I think people are realizing that I think the shine is something new and really groundbreaking, got us excited about the capabilities of what it could do. And so
Yeah.
we didn't put on our glasses to realize that, you know what, this is just the same old stuff, man. Whatever, there's still gonna be some chicanery, some machinations. So we need to be prepared for that.
Yep. And y'all watch out for Zuck. He is not human. Oh wait, this is going to end up on Instagram. Doggone. All right, Zuck is awesome. So, story number 4. We got a little analysis here, and I say that loosely, but I want to ask a question. Why did the Marvels bomb so hard? It was the lowest box office of any Marvel outing ever. And after watching it, I was curious. I was like, it didn't seem like it should be the worst Marvel outing, but it was. So people have some things to say about it. I'm just going to run through the different reasons why it only made $47 million in its opening weekend. Some people say it's the actor strike. Some people say hero fatigue. Some people say it was the online haters. Some people say Disney was scared to push it. Some people say weak marketing. The movie was too short and it was cut too fast. Some people say it wasn't connected enough to the grander MCU. Some people say it was just low quality. Some people say they don't want to see women in the leading roles, especially not 3 of them. I don't know. I assume all of that had to do with all of it had to do a little bit with the result. Theo, this is informal, man. What do you think about this?
I'm glad you went to go see it. Did you like it?
I liked it. I actually did. Yeah, I was all dude, I liked it, and I got online, and my arch nemesis, Andy, did not like it. So, the world is still okay.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
works.
My
That
Cisco is
means I might
even.
yeah, you gotta have that the direct opposite in likes and how you guys perspectives. But, yeah, I liked it too, and I saw it with my kids, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. It was just perfectly fine spectacle movie. It wasn't something that you go in with a lot of expectation. I think really Miss Marvel character, that's a great character. They just fumbling her rollout. The actress is great for it. I thought she
Yeah.
was great in it, and I thought the family angle was great. I don't think you watched the TV show, did you? Miss Marvel TV show?
Yeah, yeah, I watched it.
Okay. So, yeah, so I think that's a
Oh,
great
wait, you
character,
thought
you know?
Captain Marvel was great or Miss Marvel was great?
No, Miss Marvel, Miss
Oh,
Marvel.
okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah, so I thought that worked perfectly fine. Everyone else is a little iffy, right? I think even, Captain Marvel, she's lost in her own story, and I think that was made purposeful, right? But it's amazing that first Captain Marvel movie made $1 billion, and people saying because it became between Endgame, Infinity War Endgame, and all this other stuff. But it doesn't matter. It still made $1 billion. So it's like, dang, what went wrong there? And like I said, my take on it is that just all these factors at once are affecting it, and it just came at the wrong time. And I think Marvel knew that, and so this is a time for them to sit down and reset everything and really think about what they really want to do with these movies, right? I think this is a good thing. It's time to reset and really maybe we have lower expectations. There's rumors that they're gonna try to bring back the original Avengers. Okay, sure. There's rumors that they're gonna go to a new storyline and drop the King storyline. Sure. But it really needs to get back to the core, what got people excited in the first place about these movies, which was
Mhm.
great characters that represented stories that we can relate to and getting excited about the next chapter. So
Yeah.
just focus on that and they'll be okay.
Yeah, in short, I just think there was nothing in there for people to care about. There was just you didn't care about, Spectrum/Photon, who they didn't even bother to name, which kinda irked me
Good
because
point.
they didn't give her an origin story, and as far as we could tell from the last time we saw her, she was a loser. She got beat up. I was like, "Alright, like,
Well, and you're right. Good point. Let me push back a little bit.
go ahead."
Yes, it was a black female director. Let's be honest, black actress. Yeah, they should have built that up a little bit more. They tried to at the end. She was pivotal at the end of the story. But you're right. They didn't really name her. They didn't really give her. They gave her some hero moments, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like yeah, it wasn't a bigger thing than it should have been.
S so she didn't come in fully formed like a James Bond, and she didn't have an origin story like you would have with, say, I don't know, a Namor from Black Panther, where you get the origin story within the movie. So it was this mishmash of she's a hero, but she doesn't know how to do stuff yet. Whatever.
I
Miss
mean,
Marvel,
and let me just say this real quick. I like the actress, the Noah
I
Paris. She's
like
been
look,
around for
she's
a
great.
while. She was in Mad Men. Remember, she was a black actress. They brought in Mad Men after
Yeah,
what
yeah, I
8
remember
years,
that now.
and then
Yeah.
she pulled herself up, and then she was in the recent was They Clone Tyrone. Remember that? Did you watch
I
that?
have not seen that yet, actually.
Yeah,
That's
she
on my
was
list.
good in
Might be
that.
episode.
So she's funny. She can play all kinds of different roles. So I like the actress. I think
Yeah.
they just need to give her more.
Black girl magic.
Yeah.
That's a quote from the movie, by the way. That's I'm not just yelling. But yeah, Miss Marvel, her series was the lowest rated of all the series on Disney Plus, or all the Marvel series at least. And it was fun, it was interesting, but when it finished, it's not like we had too much to care about. Like Spider-Man, what to care about is, hey, my uncle died, this and that. I'm trying to with this girl. There's stuff that we have attachments to that we care about. And they never really made that with Miss Marvel. Same thing for Captain Marvel. You have a literal cat lady floating around in space. And what do we know about cat ladies? No one cares about them. That I wondered if they were trolling us with Captain Marvel is a cat lady. You shouldn't care about her. You don't care about her. And I wonder if they were trolling her in somewhere in the writer's room. It was like, dude, she's like cat lady floating around in her space bachelorette pad. It was just bizarre to me because none of these characters we cared about. The enemy was even a knockoff of another enemy that Guardians of the Galaxy fought with. So it was like I just didn't see a care point. So that's all I got for it.
Yeah, yeah. And before we move on, I would just say this. Yeah, Captain Marvel as a character, is she really a character at all? Let's be honest. Even in the comic books, we didn't really care about her. We didn't care about her so much. I didn't know who she was. I just always knew Rogue just took her powers. That's all I always knew. And I didn't
Yeah,
even know who the character was for like decades until
yeah,
she became a thing. And so I was like, it was really, let's be honest, a lot of these characters like Thor, I never really cared about Thor,
right.
and they made Thor a thing. So
Hmm.
they could have made I think that first movie did her didn't do right by her. There was some
Hmm.
issues there with how they wrote out the character, even though it was purposed by $1 billion, right? People lost sight of that, but I do feel like there could have been more to that character, and instead of being a space Iron Man, if you will, right? Superpowered space Iron Man that she can just do anything and everything. And I think there needs to be more to that character, and I don't think they built that right, and that's Marvel's fault. So there you
So
go.
let's see if you want to know more about what I think, it's a combination of the wants, needs, and desires of a character. You should look at a character and understand their wants, needs, and desires. And if you not relate to them, at least understand them. Captain Marvel, what does she want? What does she need? What does she desire? Hanging around with her cat? Once again, no one cares about cat ladies.
Hey, I know we're talking about this too much, but do you see my point about the heart, the brain, and
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
bond?
Yeah, that worked. That
Yeah.
actually worked.
Yeah, I think
I
that
like the
worked.
dynamic
Yeah.
there. As I said, I liked the movie, thought it was
And did
fun.
are you excited about the next phase of where Marvel teased that?
Um,
Yes, no?
yes, and I'm hesitantly interested in how they got there and who they used to get to that point. So I do want to see more in that direction. Yeah, shout out to all of the possibilities they're still leaving open because I like when companies leave the door open for them to turn up the knob. And oh, you want me to turn this knob? You want me to turn this knob? I'll get a hype. This the hype knob. I will turn it. So let's see if I turn it up.
Yeah, he got no choice, man. He gotta do something. All right. Good stuff.
Pedro Pascal? Yay or nay?
Yeah.
Eh,
Rumors, yeah, you guys didn't know rumors. He's supposed to be Mr. Fantastic from Fantastic Four. I thought he would be a better Doctor Doom, but that's just me. But we'll see.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. We're gonna round this one out really quick with our final story. We're gonna do a riff really quick. Theo apparently has a hot take because he is the knowledge base for all of this, and I'm just gonna let you take it from here. We're talking about Netflix and their so-called domination. Theo, what say you?
Mr. Benja. We've been doing this podcast for almost 2 years now. And the one dominating factor has been the streaming wars. Mr. Benja, I'm telling you right now, the streaming wars are over.
Done?
Netflix has won.
Oh
They
my
are
god.
number one. Woo! Look at the best flip. I'm talking about the Nature Boys telling you now that Netflix is number one. They've got international, they got rom-coms, they're getting into sports. Matter of fact, they're doing so well that WB and Warner Brothers and other movie studios are sending them more content. Matter of fact, Batman is going to show up on Netflix.
Oh
All the
my
old
god.
HBO TV shows are going to
Oh
show up
my
on
god.
Netflix. So what does that tell me? They gave up.
Oh,
Disney is struggling to even make their shows relevant. Bob Iger is over in the corner figuring out how he gonna buy Hulu. He don't got enough money, so he gonna sell some stuff off to Netflix. Remember, he said that Netflix was the one that selling stuff to Netflix was sending arms to a third world country.
mm,
Guess what? That third
mm,
world country is now a world power.
shut your
No
mouth.
one can catch Netflix. 200 million viewers, subscribers. They actually added subscribers last quarter. They're actually international. Their goal is to be the world's first global television streaming service, and they will achieve that goal because no one's close. So I declare a winner today in November, the year of our Lord, 2023. Netflix has won.
Oh,
Woo!
oh my god. Man. And and I just heard that they got another win under their belt. They made a nonprofit and bought the Egyptian. You know the Egyptian theater?
The theater, yeah. They
Oh,
Netflix bought wait a minute. They did a TV show about Blockbuster, right?
yeah,
So they blew up Blockbuster. They're buying theaters, which is another competitor of theirs.
yeah.
So what's next? I can see them buying the studio, Mr. Benjamin. Paramount. They need help.
Ooh, 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 you talking wild, man. That's a hot take. The hottest of takes. I love it. Calm down. Them typing fingers too hot. No, that's
I
pretty
love it.
good, man. Yeah, I the more I go into the Netflix uh, ecosystem and just start poking around and finding out things, I have a friend who likes watching their short shows. I didn't know they made these little 10 to 11, 10 to 15-minute shows where it's like, "Hey, here's this documentary." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." 11 minutes later, credits are rolling. I'm like, "Wait, what? Oh, okay, that was pleasant." And she's like, "Yeah, there's a whole bunch of short shows. I go and watch them all the time, and if I have 15 minutes to spare, I'll do this." And she says, "I don't watch any of the long things." I'm like, "Oh, oh." There's this whole group of Netflix that I don't understand that just watches the short stuff. Short, yeah. So,
It's amazing. Any corner in the world that someone owned, HBO had comedy specials. Netflix has that now. Hallmark or Lifetime with the holiday specials around this time of year,
mm,
Netflix is on that corner now. And so it's like the drug dealer is just taking over blocks of the neighborhood, specific streets. Slowly but surely, Netflix is getting to everybody's business. And they're even bringing new stuff right into the or like Squid Game. Squid Game would not have been as popular if it wasn't for Netflix. Matter of fact, they're so powerful that they're taking old TV shows like Suits and making them relevant now. That's blowing my mind. And they're the only profitable streamers. They're making money. So it's like they won. We thought this was gonna be a battle, but yeah, man, these other guys can't compete anymore. They're drowning in debt, Disney included. Some of them probably gonna be sold for parts like Paramount and Peacock. So
yeah,
it's getting to that point where I think, Mr. Benjamin, we may not be talking about the streaming wars anymore.
the streaming fallout, the streaming aid, the streaming whatever. Yeah, you might be right, sir. I think you are.
Yeah, rest in peace, the streaming wars.
You gonna round us out?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Enjoyed our rants, riffs, takes. It's been a fun one. Mr. Benja, I love it. Hey, guys, if you like what you listen to, please subscribe and comment at Show versus Business on Twitter or X, YouTube. Go check out our channel. We got a lot of stuff there. Instagram. Go listen to us at Spotify, iTunes. If you don't know, we do have a podcast. Go check that out. And wherever you listen to podcasts, we're there. So visit us also on our website at Show versus Business. All right, Mr. Benja, have a good one.
Peace.
Woo!